Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I am Neva and this is my cozy corner of the internet. And today we are doing our weekly coffee and book chat. So if you are new here or this is the first video from me that you're ever seeing, coffee and book chat has changed a little bit since I started it. It used to be like a currently type of setup, but now we are just going to talk about books. So we're going to talk about the books that I have finished this week and the books that I want to try to get to next week. So that is kind of how these are formatted. This week I actually finished 3 books, so more books than is usual for me. I usually only finish maybe 1 book a week, but grab yourself a drink. I have coffee, but depending on what time of day you're watching this, you can have coffee, tea, wine, whatever fits the time of day that you are reading. I also have, you can always drink water as well. So let's begin. So let's talk about the books that I have finished this week. The first book that I finished this week was Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. This is a dark romance, supposedly. It wasn't that dark to me, and I gave it 2 stars. It wasn't great. This was a book that I read for my patrons because they got a sit-down review of this book, and I didn't really have a lot to say about it. It was pretty boring. There was a lot going on, but it was boring. The smut wasn't very good, and I don't think that I will be picking up any more books by this author anytime soon. I have liked 1 out of the 4 that or 4 or 5 that I've tried to read from this author. So unfortunately, this one was kind of a dud, but thank you to my friend Nell because she gave this to me in 2023 for my birthday. So I am glad that I read it, and it will go on my shelf as a finished book because I appreciate that she would think about me enough to buy this for me. It just unfortunately didn't really work out for me. The next book that I finished was one of the Scared Sexy novellas, and that was Hot for Slayer by Ali Hazelwood. I ended up giving this one 3 stars. I thought that it was a fun time. I'm going to finish this little series of books. I think there's 6 in total, and this one was fine. It wasn't the worst Ali Hazelwood I've ever read. Yeah, it was fun, but it was short, so I think that's a big reason I didn't give this one a super high rating, but I would have probably read an entire book written through the premise of what we got in Hot for Slayer. This was about a vampire and a vampire slayer, and he ends up with amnesia. I can't really talk a lot about it because it was only less than 100 pages. I think it was 90 pages. And he ends up with amnesia, and she has to try to help him remember who he is. So that's kind of the premise of this book. I probably would have read a full-length novel and enjoyed that. And then the last book that I finished for the week was Love Arranged by Lauren Asher. This is the 3rd and final book in the Lakefront Billionaire series. I'm a little bit sad that this series is over, but I will be reading some of Lauren Asher's backlist because there is at least 1 series by her that I've not read yet. It is her Formula 1 series, and so which is racing, so I want to read that. This one I gave 5 stars. So this one and the first one, which was Love Redesigned, both got 5 stars for me, and then Love Unwritten got 6 stars. So in all, this series is a 5-star series for me. I really loved this book. I did really love Lorenzo and Lily and their dynamic through their fake relationship and everything. And then the end was great. I will say this is an extreme slow burn, so you don't get any spice or anything like that until 65%-ish through this book. However, I felt the tension the entire time, and I really did enjoy this one. So yes, love Lauren Asher. She's definitely an auto-buy author for me. So those are the 3 books that I finished for the week. I did listen to Does It Hurt as an audiobook, and then I listened to the second half of Love Arranged as an audiobook. The audiobooks were fine. I really did like the Love Arranged audiobook, and the other audiobook for Does It Hurt was fine. I didn't really love the male narrator, the way that he did his Italian accent. I didn't really love that, but otherwise it was fine. Like I'm not docking any points for the audios. So that is what I read for this week. So let's talk a little bit about what I'm going to be reading for next week. I have a project that I'm working on, so I'm not really going to talk about that book at all because it's irrelevant. You'll hear about that book later on. But I would like to start Ashes of the Sun. I wanted to start this last week. However, I thought that I had the hold for this from the library, and I did not for the audiobook. So I'm hoping that the audiobook will come through this week so that I can start this one. But I do want to read this one in an immersion, at least for the first 100 or so pages. This book was given to me by Brittany, and then I have the second one, which was given to me by Brianna. So I really do want to get this series read and under my belt because my friends love this series, and I need to get the third book, but I want to read this one for next week. And then I also would like to read Nixia. I do have the audiobook for this one. I know I said I wanted to read this one this week. However, with the other books that I needed to finish for the week, I just didn't get to this one. I think I will start this audiobook tomorrow. So I'm filming this on Sunday. You'll see this on Monday. So I'm hoping to finish this or start this on Monday morning as my first 45 minutes for 75 booked, because this one is supposed to be super easy to follow. This is a YA science fiction series. And so I'm hoping that this one will be really easy to follow. I have all three of the audiobooks from Libby. And so they just came through yesterday. So I'm hoping to be able to just kind of knock these out one after the next. So I may actually read this entire series like kind of back to back, which I don't usually do. But if I like this one, I've heard that this one leaves on a cliffhanger, and I'm not a huge cliffhanger person. So those are the two books that I would like to get to. I'm so sorry, my assistant on my iPad. But those are the two books that I would like to get to this week, which are, like I said, Ashes of the Sun and Nixia. And if I can get those two at least started, that would be great. I'm hoping to get Nixia completely done. So that is really all that I have for this coffee and book chat. Let me know down below what you read this week or what you plan on reading next week. And I will see y'all very soon somewhere else on the internet. Bye.